Hey guys, Jeff with Westcott Designs. So we're here out in front of our store, Westcott Designs. We're waiting for the gentleman that owns this long travel overland camper set up to arrive. He's actually from Washington. He's actually flown into the Phoenix airport. He's Ubering up to our shop. We've had his truck for probably about a month and a half now. I met him on Facebook, and when he had messaged on Facebook on a forum or page, he had said, hey, I got to try to diagnose what's wrong with my truck. I drove it about 250 miles from the last shop, and it started smoking really bad. It's starting to stumble. It's got a check engine light on it. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but it's white smoke. And so at that point, I knew that it was probably a cylinder because the truck's supercharged. And my thought was that there's a possible it had detonation and maybe broke a piston. After we spoke on the telephone, he felt very comfortable working with us and decided to have the truck transported to us from where it had broken down. About 2 days later, the car got here. We did an inspection, we pulled all the plugs, checked in the cylinders, did a compression test on it, and then took our bore scope and checked down inside the cylinders and found out that number 8 piston was broken. The top of it, the ringland had broken. After looking at it, we knew it was from detonation. Detonation happens for a couple reasons. It'll happen because bad fuel, not high enough octane rating, possibly cylinder or intake temperatures too high, which then creates detonation, too much timing in the vehicle. So with what that had to do, when we looked at it, we said, you know what, Brian, this thing is going to need a motor. And so what we ended up having to do on this is we had to do a short block reman or brand new OEM motor from Toyota. We actually took the truck for him down to the Toyota dealership. They actually only sell these motors as a short block. They do not sell it as a complete assembly. So because of that, we then basically pulled the motor. We had them pull the motor. We had them do a new motor in it, go through everything. And when they had it apart, they realized that the shift linkage on the transmission had been basically where it was literally rusting off the side, and there was some damage to the side of the transmission. So we ended up getting a transmission put in it. But at the same time, we realized that we wanted to do some upgrades on this truck. And what we did do is we ended up doing a set of American Racing long tube headers because we were gonna have to put new cats on it because the cat was oil fouled and it was never gonna be right again. So at that point we decided, okay, we're gonna do long tube American Racing headers with a 3-inch collector, help the supercharger work less and make the motor more efficient, and then build all the custom exhausts on this. So we built all full custom exhausts with cats, mufflers, everything, V-bands. We V-banded the whole thing. It's all stainless steel 3-inch. Just because this truck is so well built out, we thought, you know, we've got to do this and we've got to make it look nice to go along with the rest of the look of this truck. We didn't build this whole truck. We just had a small part in it, and we were thankful that we got to be a part of it. We did dyno tune the truck after we were done because we wanted to make sure that when this truck was dialed in, that with all the additional weight that was on it, that we didn't have too much timing in it, was gonna suffer the motor again. So we wanted to make sure the truck was super reliable, but yet made a little bit more power with those headers on it and the exhaust system on it, and really dropped down the boost a couple pounds, and then took some timing out of it. And we were really able to get this thing dialed in. So pretty much you can take this thing anywhere and not have to worry about it being reliable anymore. So this truck is, kind of walk around it for you, but you can see it's got glass fenders on the front. It's actually a full long travel truck here. It's got Total Chaos upper and lower arms on it. It's got the bypasses on it. It's got the reservoirs on it in the front. It's got the adjusters and the All King suspension in the front. And then it's got a set of 3.0s. It's actually 3.0s in the front. And then it also has a 3.0 in the back here. And you can see with adjusters and reservoirs as well. And then if you look inside here, you can actually see some of our exhaust work that goes through behind here, the leaf spring. And then it dumps out here. We basically dumped it out right here by the trailer hitch. We wanted to add the lowest point as being the trailer hitch where the receiver is, to add for some protection to the exhaust, but we needed to get the exhaust out so it was just past the back end of the vehicle, for one, for emissions, and for two, that we didn't get any sound resonation that was up underneath the back of the truck. And so what we did is we did some custom tips down here, just kind of angled them down at the ground to get the noise away from the vehicle. This truck is really, really nice. It's also been all camel wrapped. It's got rigged tire carrier on the back. It's got some attachments on the back of here. The camper actually goes up, which all this was all done in New Mexico. I'm trying to think of the name that the company is, but they do really nice work after looking this over. It's super well done. We do a lot of stuff with Method. The Method wheels were already on it. Soil Open Country MTs and a 37 12.5 by 17 on this. It's got a set of RCI rock sliders on it. It's got a front runner rack. You can see how they've made it so it fits underneath here in the back, and then it's just got the front panel on it here up in the front. And that's to allow for clearance for the camper and then allow for more storage and stuff in the front of it. We did put a windshield in it. We're actually in the process of pinning these all back into the windshield here. It had a broken windshield, and the customer had requested, Brian had requested that we put a windshield in it while we had it. So we did that. C4 front bumper, all Baja Designs lighting on it. I mean, this truck is really, really well done. They're on their way here right now from the airport, like I said. So we'll get a little time with them, speaking to them, ask them what their plans are, where they're heading from here, and have them keep in touch with us and let us know what their thoughts are on the truck after they've picked it up. And really, they haven't had the truck in almost 2 years because of all the other work that went along with it, and then us to have it. So we try to get it done as quick as possible so they could get it back. I think they may be going up to Pacific Northwest to the show up there this weekend. So that'd be pretty cool if they get to take this up there and show it off. But again, we appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this, and when they get here, we'll share a little bit more with them. Thanks again. So Brian, thank you, welcome.
Hey.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Pleasure to meet
Jeff.
you. I'm glad that this all worked out for you. You know, I feel bad it's been, what, 2.5 years that you've actually got to enjoy the truck or have it. Tell us about the truck and tell us how long you owned it and how you got started with the truck.
Yeah, so kind of funny, my oldest son played football where we live, and I kept seeing this Tundra at practice pick up one of his buddies. And it was pretty stock, had a regular canopy on it, had a basket system, you know, a high jack lift on it and whatnot, some lights up front. And I kept seeing it at practice, like, that's really cool, but I was really never into trucks or off-roading or anything. And I went to take my Sequoia in for a service recall, and I pull out of the bay to leave, and this was sitting out in the sale lot. They hadn't even put up the for sale sign yet or anything.
And this was that truck that you saw driving?
And this was that truck.
Oh, wow, that's
so
great.
I'm like, okay. So I called my wife and said, this truck is over here. I have to have it. So I was able to buy it. I took
So you checked with her ahead of time? Make sure it was okay?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
But we have a local outfitter in Seattle, Washington called Mule Outfitters.
Yep, sure, very familiar with them.
And so I took the truck there, and they did some upgrades. And then my youngest and I went camping with some of our soccer buddies. You know, there's lots of trails and places to go in Seattle. But then I went down to Expo West in 2018 for the first time, and I was walking around, and I knew I wanted a canopy system on the back of the truck eventually. But I didn't really want to have all my stuff in it, and then where was I going to sleep? Because rooftop tents were just starting to come out.
Sure.
So Brian from Goose Gear, the CEO of Goose Gear, had this 50-tent camper that's from Germany on the back of his Ford 250, and he had created a one-off template for this camper just to kind of show what Goose Gear could do for the camper system. And it's a walk-in, live-in, pop-up tent, fully integrated.
Okay.
And I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. So as I was walking further around Expo, I met Walt Wagner of TAV and saw his build, and I'm like, let's marry the two up. And so talked to Walt about it. He was able to order a 50-10 camper from Germany. They shipped it to...
Now, is Walt out of New Mexico?
Yeah, he's out of Albuquerque.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
so he's been building...
And so he's the one that outdid basically the build out on that then?
So Brian did the build out on the inside of the camper and then shipped it to Walt.
Okay.
And then Walt put the flatbed tray on the back, took my bed off, put the flatbed on, then put the camper on.
Okay.
It's fully plumbed and integrated, so it's actually a permanent installation. So you can't.
So let's walk over here real quick. I got a couple questions. Obviously, I'm not familiar with it, but when I look up here in the front, this looks like it's a tilt.
Yeah,
tilt.
It's a wedge.
Okay, wedge design.
Yeah.
And then it's all mounts directly to the frame here in the back.
That's correct.
And then is there sleeping up in the front, or is it sleeping up through the top?
So your feet go here and your head is out that way.
Okay.
When it's deployed, half the bed comes up with the camper.
Okay.
And then when you sleep, you just push it down. It's on gas struts.
All right. And then standard fuel tank system?
No, I put in a long range 46-gallon fuel tank.
Okay. And then, so I see all this is done, the awning here, the front runner rack and how it's got the front basket on it. And then it's got obviously additional storage in the front there. And then I noticed when I look at the truck, all the big suspension on the truck, all King shocks, all Total Chaos upper arms, lower arms, long travel. I'm guessing those are Fiberworks' front fenders.
CBI.
CBI front fenders?
Yeah.
Okay. So I see all that. Who did all that for you?
So that was Walt. So that's their
So they did everything.
They did everything.
Okay.
So the only thing that the truck had before it went to them was the RCI skids and the RCI armor underneath.
Okay.
But everything else was put on. So the shocks, the long travel system, that's the stage 3 build out by Walt and TAV.
Okay. All right. Well, that's great. I see that, and then I'm like, these are like King 3.0s and bypasses.
Yeah, they're brand. It's a brand new system.
Yeah. So when you bought the truck, how many have you put many miles on it since you even owned it?
Probably 600 miles.
And then the supercharger, where was that done?
That was done with TAV as well.
Okay. All right. So obviously since we got the truck, we did the motor, tranny, long tube headers on it. Decided it needed high flow cats to go along with the additional weight.
And it looks great.
And we TIG welded everything, all 3.5 or all 3-inch. Made all the custom bends and everything on it. V-banded everything, clamped it all the way back. Some high flow mufflers on it, and obviously dumped it out over the back there, just to obviously add for some clearancing on that. And then, did they do all the wheels and tires too? With that? So this truck is just, for trucks that have been into our shop, this is without a doubt the most done-up truck that's ever been here. So I was like, this is definitely something we've got to talk about. And obviously now getting to meet you actually in person and instead of over the phone or by messaging and stuff like that. And the fact that you put your trust in us to ship your car over here and allow us to do it. What have we had it? Have we had it a month and a half or 2 months?
Yeah, probably a couple months.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of this community. I have posted on my page, hey, I broke down in California. Only had the truck for about 600 miles. Like you said when we met, a bunch of people offering their opinions, but not any help. And so I'm really appreciative that you reached out directly and said, hey, we got this, we'll help you out. And it's just been peace of mind.
Well,
it really has.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you putting the trust in us to allow us.
Well,
you didn't know me.
No, I didn't, but I'll tell you that since meeting you, the community, that I plugged into either in Arizona or elsewhere. I said where the truck is and who's working on it. Oh, Westcott Design. Oh yeah, Jeff. They're great. They're awesome. Oh yeah, I go there all the time, or love their builds or whatever. So you've obviously built a reputation, since starting this company, and it shows by both the builds that you post, online, but just the interaction that we've had is just been stellar.
I appreciate that. And then my question for you, obviously, I just came outside and you're here, and do you have time for me to show you around the shop and just kind of how we do things?
We'd love to see it.
Yeah? Okay, let's go. I'll take you around.